Good morning, Prasad. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you, Ahmed.
Great to have you aboard, my friend. Let's get straight into it. Would you like to maybe start off by introducing and telling us a bit about your business and the kind of services you provide?
Hey, thanks for the opportunity, Ahmed. We are Hello AI, helping teenagers to explore and learn more about AI and the data science behind that. The purpose why we want to do this, because most of these youngsters, when they land up in a job in next 4 5 years, they need to be understanding and living with AI. So the service we provide is a self-learning platform that helps teenagers to learn by doing the AI projects which they can relate to.
Amazing. So really helping students get ahead of the curve and learning how to use AI. So when AI is a huge part of the world in their jobs, they're far more comfortable. Is that what the underlying aim is of it?
Yep, yep.
Great stuff. So what kind of parents are not going to want that? Very surprising. So first question I got for you, my friend, is what inspired you to come up with this idea?
Right. So this is my personal experience. I in last summer when my daughter asked me, how is this Alexa working? Right, she's in year 9 now. She asked me how does this working, and this Google is so smart, where it knows what I need, and it types the rest of the things for me, right? How it works, she asked that question to me, right? So that's where I tried explaining her, and she liked it, and she brought few of her friends, saying that okay, you should listen to what my dad says. That's where I realized these kids are really missing the trick on really understanding what is happening under the hood of these AI, because each one of them, morning from evening, they're interacting with multitudes of AI platforms, whether it is WhatsApp or whether it is Instagram or whether it is Google or whether it is Alexa or Siri, whatever the platform they're interacting, it has got a huge component of AI in it. And if they don't know about how it works, they don't understand the bias and ethics, which they are being targeted towards, right? So that's how it's
Mhm.
all started with, right? There is a need to make sure that these guys should know this properly, age appropriate wise, and so that they will be much better to appreciate these platforms when they use.
It just came up from your own use, well, your own experience with
Yes.
your own daughter.
Yep.
If my daughter's going to be curious about this, it's probably, well, millions of other teenagers out there going to be curious about this. So why not turn it into a business? Now, before the session started, you told me a bit about your previous business. And like all great entrepreneurs, you made some mistakes there and you brought the learnings from your previous business into your new ones. Would you like to maybe share with the audience over here, what are your key learnings from your previous business that you brought into your new one?
Yeah, that's very, 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 very hard lesson learned, Amit. In my first business, when we first started, when we did, we were quite obsessed with the solution, right? Because
Hmm.
we were behind the open blockchain, all cool self-custody based solution, and we built a solution without really looking at whether user needs that, right? So the biggest lesson we learned is need to really understand who your users are and what are their pain points. And if you don't understand your product market fit, and it is absolutely waste for building something which nobody use, right? The lesson learned is be obsessed with problem than with solution.
Love it. You're obsessed with the problem rather than a solution. And once you know what the problem is, designing the solution becomes far more efficient,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
Awesome. Now, you're relatively new in the world of business. It's not like you've been in business for 25 years like other people. However, that's not to say that your product or your experience so far to date is not going to be good enough. I mean, you're in probably the most hottest industry right now. You just got so many unknowns that lots of business owners really don't know much about. You're in this area of in this field, which is growing, which has got lots of potential, and your background is to be an AI consultant. I mean, so what business is not going to want to need your help right now? Probably every business wants to probably have a conversation with you. Now, let's take that step forward. Um, who would you say, or where do you get your inspiration from running a business? I mean, as an AI consultant, you're busy, you had lots of work coming into your door. Now you've decided to set up your own business. What inspired you to jump ship from being employed to now creating your own business?
Yeah, it's all about, being an entrepreneur. It gives a great satisfaction, that you are closer to, the user community, the
Mm,
closer to someone who is, impacting and changing, their life, right? So if you are closer to that, that gives a different kick, right? When you consult for a bank, which I do normally, which I do still, I enjoy doing that, where I'd be helping, with an AI strategy, we'll be helping with a roadmap where they could consume AI effectively. But we are far away from the actual consumers and users of those services, right? So because
mm,
it goes through multiple hurdles, we've got IT teams, we've got product management teams, we've got sales teams, then comes the user or the customer. So there is hardly any chance we get, to interact with, the real user who get impacted by the solutions which we provide and see the change. Right, being an
mm.
entrepreneur, you are in the center of the, the whole, equation of stuff, right? Where you are seeing, especially in early stages, your customers really well, and you will understand the kind of change which is happening in them, by using your products or solutions, and that
That
will,
direct interaction with the customers to see, hey, look, what you're doing, how is it going to impacting their world and you know,
yeah,
working
that
for
that's
them. It's
that's one of
amazing.
the things which gives a kick. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I can absolutely imagine. Um, so over the next 2 or 3 years as a business owner, um, what challenges do you think you're going to face for yourself?
Right. So, it's 2 years in the space of AI is too long, right? Because we are seeing every other day there's some new models coming in, new large language models coming in. So what I could see definitely is be prepared to unlearn, and, iterate, and continuously build, right? So that's the only way we could be, ahead of, or be with the happenings around you, right? We can't just fixate it with a solution or fixated with a particular approach. We need to be ready to, iterate, and we need to be ready to, experiment and learn, and then continuously improve, right? Then
Yeah,
versus the, because unlike in many other areas, we can't fixate with a particular approach, right? That need to be
yeah.
considered, because when we started with, we didn't have the powerful language models like, GPT-4 or, OpenAI stuff. Now today we have many more things are coming, together, which would make my life more easy, right? If I would have fixated with one particular model, then, it would have been extremely hard for me to switch into the recent ones which is happening, right? So we should keep it much open, much nimble, and much modular, right? So from a tech perspective, it should be much modular. So I should be able to, change it as and when, new stuff comes in, and iterate, experiment, learn, and move forward.
Mm. I mean, those principles you mentioned are so applicable to many different industries. To iterate, to learn, to unlearn something old and relearn something new. But plenty of business owners can get stuck in their ways and not continuously keep learning because let's face it, learning does take up energy. And after a business owner that's worked a full day in their business running, working with their staff, their teams, their customers, when has got time to sit there and learn new things? I mean, what advice or what encouragement would you give to other businesses who are not in your industry to keep doing what you're doing in their work, unlearning, relearning, looking at new approaches? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, see, I could, from last few years, being closer to the startups, I could see a clear differentiation between a business and a startup. Right? A business is something which you already have you have discovered the business model. Say, for example, you're running a franchisee, you're running because already your business model is discovered, where you need a lot of operational efficiency, right? How do you leverage your operational effectiveness? How do you look at the best ways in which you can automate things, and you are there to effectively, get your, savings and cost management more effectively. So when you're coming into a startup world, you are discovering your business model. What does that mean is, you need to understand your channel to your customers. You are making a lot of assumptions, right? And, how do you validate those assumptions, and the riskiest ones which you have in the business, how do you validate early? So in a startup world, it is an important element where the riskiest assumptions need to be validated very quickly. Assumptions about your customers, about the value you provide to your customers, about the pricing model, the channel to the customers, all of them you're making assumptions, right? And
Mm,
because and those assumptions need to be validated. And your whole objective every day is, what did I validate today? What did I learn today? Right? So that's a difference which I could see in a typical business and a startup. Is that what I see? There are parallels, but in business, of course, it's all about your operational effectiveness. How do you want to be better than what you did yesterday, right? In the startup is, how do you validate one thing which you want to learn today, right? So that you know,
mm.
hey, this is the assumption which you have taken and you have validated those. So there are parallels, but the approach in which you take those are very different.
Makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. And looking back, so you've been running your business for just under a year now, and you've been already been selling to consumers out there in your local market, which is a great position to be in. Um, but if you were to start again from the 1st of January 2024, what one key change would you make to your business or the way you run things right
Very good. So we made a big assumption initially. It is going to be a B2C initially. We thought we will directly go to the users or consumers and help them to learn about AI more effectively. So one thing we realized very quickly by doing our initial experiments, uh, this this required a different trigger and motivation in children to learn about it, right? So unless and until this is part of their school curriculum or school insists them to do, uh, there are very less self-motivated teens who really wanted to know about this, right? They are okay to be a consumer, end user, and a consumer of an app like an Instagram or a TikTok or a chatbot or whatever that is. Their their keenness on going beneath underneath. I made an assumption. I thought everyone, maybe like my daughter, would like to know, are curious and enthusiastic about to know further behind what is underneath these systems. But that was the wrong assumption. So it is important that if it is not aligned towards either their curriculum in the school, and if it is not challenging them with some tests, or challenging them with certain elements which will help them in their, maybe to getting a better admission in uni, or help them to score better scores in their A levels, right? Or
now?
their, so it is important thing which I've learned. So it need to be a B2B proposition where I need to go to schools, need to buy into this, and then the school gets buy into this, automatically the parents and children will get bought into it, right? So that's something which I would like to pivot, is look at the B2B model and learn. I should have done both at the same time, right? Which I didn't do. I went with a strong
Mm.
conviction that every child will be curious and enthusiastic, but they are curious and enthusiastic, but they don't want to spend time and learn.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. And coming from the angle of schools where the learning's on a plate makes your job easier to sell, and also it's
Yeah,
easier for the student to learn as well because
yeah,
it's being made part of their day-to-day model as well.
correct, correct, correct.
Amazing learning from you. Dr. Prasad, it's been really nice talking to you today. You've shared some really good points, which no doubt is going to add value to the business user community. Thank you very much for your time. Hopefully, our paths cross again in the future. And just want to wish you an amazing day ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Amit. Appreciate that. Thanks for your time. Yeah.
Cheers.